and we would have to play for 4 quarters to attain victory in a hostile environment at their home. We hadn't been there in a while. I think it's the first time going there. Usually they have come here. So we knew we would have to weather the storm and play for complete 4 quarters. I thought in the second half we really began to show ourselves and play our style of football, and very fortunate to come out with the win.
We'll start with the room questions about this past Saturday first before we move into this week. If anybody has anything in the room.
Right off the bat, obviously the second half is probably the best football I've seen here since 2016 maybe, as far as domination. What was the flip switch, and was it really just as simple as kind of a wake-up call that hit?
Yeah, they threw a lot at us. They took advantage of us from a defensive standpoint, trying to get in the right call, the best call, and so they ran a little tempo style offense, and as we were trying to get communication in and get guys lined up, they stole a couple of plays. We began to settle down and just play it and get our cleats in the dirt and play football. And then at that point, we got a reverse pass, we got a flea flicker pass, and really just wanted to settle down and allow those things to happen. There's a play we call oh shoot. All right, shoot uses not the word though. When everybody go one way and they throw it back to the tight end the other way, and so they hit us with the oh shoot play, and then a couple of more plays and it was big plays. It was big plays for them that resulted in the touchdowns that we had not. In that particular play, we actually practiced, and they gave it to us out of different formation. But once we went into the locker room, we gathered our team together, we gathered our composure, and I thought offensively we went out, we imposed our will, and we ran the ball effectively, averaged about 6 yards a carry. In the second half, I thought our offensive line, our backs, ran behind their pads and ran with physicality. I thought we threw the ball efficiently when need be. Had a drive that was 16 plus plays or so in 6+ minutes of the game, and really started to show what we were capable of. Again, another week where we did not turn it over from an offensive standpoint. I thought that was big for us, and to get 21 points in the second half are big things for us. Defensively, again, took the ball away, +2 in the turnover margin, and when you look at the third quarter, 37 total yards for their offense. In the fourth quarter, 47 total yards. Those guys that came in for us, we're glad we have them. Jarris Wallace, transfer from Arizona with a big interception, conference player of the week, and Corian Harris with a fumble recovery after causing it, going to track to the back in the backfield, didn't get in the live ball. Thought he played phenomenal, as well as the entire defensive unit. Just really began again to impose our will and play with the physicality that we thought we could. They were 2 for 3, or two out of the 3 last drives were 3 and out, and it started from the very first. They got the ball back in the second half. We got a tackle for loss on kickoff coverage where we tackled them at the 10, 11-yard line and had them back there, and then played good ball from there. Both opportunities. The opening kick from a special team standpoint was phenomenal. The second half kick from a special team standpoint to tackle them inside or a little tad bit outside the 10 to block a punt, to go 100% in PATs, to go 100% in field goal opportunities. I thought we played a complete game. From a special team standpoint, averaged 42 yards a punt. That was superlative, the best that we've had in our time here, and I think that was the shining moments. Even when we struggled offense and defensively early on, our special teams kept us in position where we average start drive was at the 32. Our opponent was at the 22, 23-yard line. So I thought our special teams allowed us to hang around for some time until the second half when we were able to really pull it together.
And why do you think that's a switch? Because that's a complete switch from what you had been doing.
Yeah, I think guys just really want to do well. Intentionally, nobody goes out not to play their very best. And so we work on things. We work on things in all three phases of it to get us where we need to be. And then it's our job as a staff to put them in position to go out and do those things. And I just thought in the second half, after having a heart-to-heart with our team, after they held each other accountable, not just coaches, they held each other accountable to raise their level of play and let's just go be McNeese. Be the best version of McNeese we can be. Never mind who that opponent is. Let's go play our style of football where we rally to the football, that we play with physicality, and let's see where this game ends up at.
There's always, in every winning season, there's always the turning point.
Yeah.
Do you see that as a possible turning point for you guys? Is just the whole second half?
Well, I hope so, because this opponent is very talented. Last spring, they averaged 45 points a game. Right now, they're averaging 41 points a game. Their quarterback is as prolific of a passer with arm talent and hand talent. When I mean by hand talent, the ability to negotiate a throw, sidearm, over the top, however he throws it, or find an angle or window to get it in. He's done a phenomenal job. Over 300 yards in 2 of the games, 200 yards in 1 that he only played 2 quarters and a half against Prairie View. But they pass the ball well. They score extremely well. We'll need to play our best football to our ability on this Saturday to give ourselves a chance to win this game.
Okay, let's go back to last spring. You said you'll remember after the late touchdown.
Yeah.
Is there any residual to that, or?
No, it's one of the better offenses for sure. Better teams in our conference. We're excited about playing them. We're excited about going into their venue and playing to the best of our ability.
But nothing about the last late touchdown?
No, not at all.
What about the strangeness that they have a player just like
Southern did
that was on your team as recent as the spring, and the knowledge of what he'll bring to that game, and what you got to work around with that?
Yeah, I don't know how much he'll be able to give knowledge about our defense. I think he is a good football player. He does good things for them. I think his body of work will be determined by how he performs, not necessarily schematically. What we'll be doing and how to attack us. They got good coaches. They do a good job. They'll do that, and then I think they'll use him in position to try to affect the game, and hopefully we can put ourselves in position to nullify that. Is there
a sense of, you've seen them recently kind of help, that there won't be the shock factor that there kind of was?
Yeah. I share with our staff. I didn't know of the rivalry. I didn't know there was such a rivalry with us in UIW. I know with Southeastern, with Nicholls State, with our state school, with Northwestern. But I was naive in a sense a year ago, and I thought their team, they did a good job. Their staff, their team, being more determined than we were. Understanding the scale of what it was to come into our venue and beat a historically powerful program like McNeese. We took them as the next game. We've heightened our awareness. We understand the significance, and it means as much, if not more, to us now than it did a year ago. So they have our undivided attention, and we'll prepare accordingly.
Going back to Trevor a little bit, I mean, this may not have the answer to this question, but does anybody on the team still kind of have that relationship with him?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It hadn't come up much. He's a good guy. I'm more than sure nobody's bitter or angry with him. I don't know how much he still talks to the guys or not, but he left here, and there were no bad feelings. We understood what he wanted to do and was respectful of it.
With the way the league is, a lot of passing, a lot of wide open offenses, was that really important to establish your run in the second half to kind of take that forward?
Yeah, I thought so. I think it's something that we can do well. We have those style of backs that when you talk about the physicality of Stephon Hutterson, when you talk about the same thing with Carlo Williams, guys that and offensive linemen that have mass and girth that can change the line of scrimmage. When we have opportunities to run, especially when we're able to throw on the perimeter, I think it just helps us be more diversified. And so we want to be able to do both. We'll need to be able to throw the ball well in this game, but I think running will play a part, much like this team does. You know, they have a back that rushed for almost 800 yards in the spring season, All-American, All-Conference player for them. But when you think of them, you think of their pass game, but yet they're still balanced enough where they have two really dynamic running backs.
Is it easier with a kind of beat-up offensive line to go forward instead of the pass?
Yeah. You know, we're down a couple, and so the things that from a run game, pass game that we can do best that fits our personnel, we'll do.
How important was it to be able to get Cody back? I know his stats weren't as good as they had been in the past few games, but how important was it to get Cody back after taking that hit?
Yeah, very important. You know, we were prepared to allow Cade to play and whomever else we may have needed. I thought Cade stepped in and did an admirable job. Looked very composed, poised, in the pocket. But you know Cody, you know, he's a warrior, and he wanted in, and once we got clearance from our doctors, we were more than excited to get him back in the game.
Anybody on Zoom have anything for Coach?
Yeah, Coach, can you hear me?
Of course, Rick.
Coach?
Yes, I can hear you, Vic.
Just checking. Hey, I am not going to beat the drum on the running up the score that Mr. Gazzola brought up. You made your comment on it. I think we've all kind of probed you in regards to what was said after the game, and we're going to respect that. I still think it was Bush League, but that's just me on a soapbox in regards to what Morris did. But the last two games and the disparity of the losses for McNeese, and I think it's going back, maybe there was a year, I don't have it in front of me, but the last two games have been pretty wide margins.
That's accurate.
Do you use that in regards to preparation for this game, for the rah-rah aspect of it, or do you avoid it thinking that it's just going to be a distraction that this team doesn't need?
Yeah, I think what we're doing right now, we're looking at these last three games that they've played in this season. We're using some formational things, some situational things that they've done, and even a year prior of us playing them in the spring, in the time before, and seeing those things that are carryover, and preparing for those things. I think that's all you can do. Players have changed schematically; they're pretty much the same. And so, what do? How do we put ourselves in position to win this game? This game is the most important one because it's the next one. No different if we had been successful in the other two. We wouldn't necessarily rest on our laurels with it because this is a different game and a different moment. The same way where we were not victorious in those last two. This one becomes most important in our preparation and what they've done in this calendar year and last spring, and whatever carryover that we may have to put our players in position to win becomes priority for us.
And speaking of the preparation, this is an incarnate word that took down a Sun Belt team last week in Texas State. With that as a backdrop, you mentioned about the Cowboys needing a wake-up call and let's get out and fight last week at halftime. Is the message this week and going forward is there is no time to fall asleep. There is no time to all of a sudden get distracted, if you will. You gotta more or less wake your ass up from here on out, if you will.
There's no doubt about it. We cannot fall behind with this team like we did last week, or we even did a year ago, and then eventually we started to show some life. We have to play well from the beginning through the end in this game on Saturday. I think that's important for our football team to play fast, to get off to a good start, to be able to put ourselves in position to play well for 60 minutes, and not just in a half or a quarter, but for 60 minutes will be important for us.
Can you update in regards to if you're able to, in regards to the situation with Winters and Tarver? Apparently Tarver did not make the trip to Southern, and the Winters appeal. Is that simply a lost cause in regards to Winters? It
is not a lost cause. It's something that has have attorneys involved in it right now with his parents in the conference, or the SEC. I'm sorry, the NCAA. Right now, as they're trying to navigate and work out some things, and hopefully we're not going to give up on it. We feel the young man did everything that he was supposed to do, that was prescribed for him by the National Junior College Athletic Association, that they approved, that they certified that he did. And then for something to come back that's beyond his control, it's not like he failed a class or did not take whatever. They gave him a course outline of the things he needed to do, prereqs he needed to do. He did that. And then, unfortunately, there've been some other issues. Romello Tarver probably is doubtful yet again this week.
Let me ask you this, and I hate to jinx Mr. Orgeron, but maybe expound a little bit about how difficult in this day and age of his, now 176 attempts without an interception. That's pretty impressive.
It is. I think he's smart with the football. One of the things I'm trying to share with him, it's okay. There's a such thing as a good throwaway, and not compromise, the other team intercepting it, But what we can't put ourselves in position is the tackle for loss. A part of that is because he understands our creed, that it is all about the ball, and he doesn't compromise. He keeps two hands on it. He makes efficient throws, and then when it's not there, I just like to see him get rid of it sometimes and take a good throwaway opposed to taking a sack when we don't need be. But he's very conscientious and smart in how he handles the ball for our football team, which allows us to not turn it over. We've done a good job of holding on to it, and he hasn't thrown it to the other team, which are both big deals for us.
Frank, is there any timeline on C.J. Powell's return? Do you have anything to share on that?
Man, we're hopeful, man. God knows we need his big playability. I think that was one of the things. Whenever, as much as I can give acknowledgement and prowess to a 16-play drive that was 6+ minutes, it also tells you that we're not having the big plays that we've had at times that we'd like to get back to. In that particular game, we were dinged up in some spots. We were trying to gain control of an offense that early on had us reeling with just the trickery and the things that they were doing. And so I thought what we did was appropriate in managing the game and taking control of it. But certainly against this opponent, we'll have to score. We'll have to score because they are a high-powered offense that'll have their opportunities. They'll get their fair share of opportunities, but I think defensively, we'll do better than we did a year ago in positioning ourselves to limit that.
You mentioned about the quarterback's ability to throw different kind of passes and different kind of directional things of that nature. What in particular of this young man, now a sophomore, that he does really well, that your secondaries and the front seven, really the entire defense is going to have to be really aware of to try to negate some of his ability.
Yeah, his ability to extend plays, to scramble, but yet keep his eyes down the field. Reminiscent of the guy in Kansas City who, of course, Eric and those guys were a part of when they were at Texas Tech. He has an uncanny ability to extend a play, and it becomes a big play. A couple of times last year we ran up, meaning secondary guys came up to support, and there it goes behind the head of a defensive back who has let his guy loose. This guy wants to extend a play for the throw. He does have enough athletic ability to run, and he has run. But I don't necessarily think he's going to beat you. Although he may get gains with his legs, he's going to beat you throwing the ball. That's his strength. The ability to go right, to go left, up and over, and yet throw it to that designated window or area, or even throw it back across field, to be moving left and to throw it back the opposite way. Kind of a look-off pass, to look one way and throw it that way. He has a plethora of those things in his arsenal. And so that's what makes him very unique. He's a very confident young man, doesn't play like an average sophomore. Big in stature, quick release, strong arm, extremely accurate with the football.
And the last question in regards to that offense and what you're planning from a defensive secondary standpoint, will you get with your secondary coaches and say, okay, we need to do this. We need to make sure this is different because of what you just described of his special ability to extend plays, meaning maybe will the safeties play deeper, or I'm not going to get into X's and O's. I'll leave that up to you.
Yeah, we saw those things that they've done to us, to other opponents. We know the things that we've been vulnerable to. We'll guard against that. We'll have coverage that allows us to be in position to defend what they do well, and certainly knowing that even if they've done something, there's something else that they're going to build in a building block process off of it to give them the next best option as they go. And so we'll have our hands full, but we'll be prepared. We'll have a great game plan going into this to give us every opportunity to be successful in defending the pass game.
Kind of a broader question. How do you really feel about where the team's at heading into conference play?
I like where we're at. I think the last 3 weeks, the last 2 weeks, we've played hard. There is no shortage of effort from our football team. There is no shortage of confidence. To come back from 21-10 and at halftime and give an opponent the ball, to have a big stop and to score 21 unanswered and to play the stop we did with limiting 35 and 74 yards respectively, averaging 6 yards a rush, finish the game out in the greatest position you can, and that's victory with the knee on it, meaning we had control of the game at that point. To make the strides we're making in all 3 phases of the game is a testament to the work of our student athletes and our coaches. And so I think we continue to get better each week in some area. In most areas, we're still not there yet as we seek perfection. But I think we're making tremendous strides. There's still things, defensively we got to tackle better. We got to be conscientious of the trick plays. Again, one-on-one matchups. Guys aren't just running by us, catching bombs. They did catch deep pass, but it was uncovered guys on trick plays that we have to be more mindful for and against. And I think if we're in position, we just want to contest everything. If we can contest it, then we've given ourselves a shot. The uncontested things are the ones we have to eliminate.
Coach, how do you feel about 11 o'clock kickoff?
We play 12 here. We went through camp intentionally with AM practices so that we're prepared for it. We're going to look at the schedule and exactly what time we'll leave here Friday so that we're already in San Antonio and we're in position to be well rested and ready to go early in the AM, opposed to being up late or traveling on late Friday or early Saturday. So we'll be responsible and from that standpoint and getting ourselves ready to play an early kickoff.
All righty.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.